Previously in X-Men. After discovering a crashed starship, the parasitic alien race known as the Brood in the New Mexico desert, former X-Men Alex Summers, also known as Havok, is determined to warn his old team of outlaw mutant heroes. But in the wake of the mutant massacre, a killing spree perpetuated by the Marauders, the X-Men have been spread thin and are circling ranks. Will their new tactic help them survive or simply postpone the inevitable? I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are a group of 7 comics. Welcome to episode 149 of our ongoing live stream read-through of the X-Men Comics The Theme Classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 219 by Chris Claremont, Bret Blevins, and Dan Green. Cover date of July 1987. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to everyone in the chat. Nice to see everyone sending well wishes to everybody. Welcome to 2025. Welcome to episode 149. One away from 150. That's something.
That is pretty wild. Pretty wild. Happy New Year, like you said, back at you. And to everyone else in the chat, it's nice seeing everyone here. I'm happy to see everyone in the chat, except for maybe one person. I'm feeling a little feisty, a little bit of a hockey rivalry. My beloved Maple Leafs, our beloved Maple Leafs, are playing the team of someone in the chat, and so I'm feeling a little feisty. So I don't want to see you trash talking my Maple Leafs tonight. You know who you are, nice person from Philadelphia. So yeah, the new year, that's good. I hope you and your family had a nice one. We could spend the entire 2 hours just talking about our respective families and their shenanigans over the break, but we have so much more fun, important stuff to talk about, like X-Men comics and Lego Superman movie trailers. I should say a Superman movie trailer done through Lego. I wish there was a Lego Superman movie. That would be really awesome. We can talk about all sorts of things before we get into, of course, issue 219. Mm-hmm. Let's start with something non-X-Men so that we can move into X-Men in sequence. The Superman teaser. So a trailer and a teaser, one is longer than the other. That's fine. Teaser usually is just a series of scenes that set a mood. It's sort of like an emotional thing, whereas a proper trailer often gives sort of plot points and puts things in sequence. Do you have any thoughts about the Superman teaser?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought from an emotional perspective, in terms of the kind of going for that kind of hopeful nature of a hero and that kind of piece. I thought it really did well in that space, and kind of really just an antithesis, really, to some of the Superman DC things that we've been used to in the last decade. The darker kind of not that the Superman character itself, played by Henry Cavill, was played dark, but just the entire universe. And this seems, even though it's still a universe that Superman exists in, and there's villainy and threats and those kinds of things, it just seems like a brighter place.
Yeah, I hear you. My take, which, everyone has one on these kinds of things. My take is, I've seen every Superman movie. I don't want to see one of them again. I want to see something different. Right. So I'm more than, that's, a perspective of a person like me. I'm more than happy to see a take I haven't seen before that is still, I often think of these things as like gravity wells, and each of these interpret like these big entities like Superman or Batman or X-Men. There are these massive gravity wells, and all these creators are making things that circle the well, but don't actually ever go right in, really hit the core of it. When they do go right into the well, right in down the middle, it feels amazing, because to me, it's like they hit something exactly right. So each of the Superman iterations that I've seen, I've watched them all, and the animated ones, they each do something that I feel is like right on the money, and then lots of things that are not. So even just going back to the beloved Christopher Reeve movies, and let's just talk about the first two for a moment. as much as they capture a certain like look of him and a certain feel, they're campy as can be, and the special effects don't hold up, and that's fine. Like that's who would expect that from 1978 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, it does something, and it also doesn't do something, and I am one of those people that I find something that I enjoyed, something, not all the things, something I enjoyed about Superman Returns. I thought there was an emotion here or there that I was connecting with. There was lots I didn't connect with, and Man of Steel, same thing. Things I connect with and things I didn't connect with. So I'm looking forward to another movie to connect with some things, and hopefully it's more things to connect with than not. If you are out there, or you as well, Chris, if you want to read some source material, if that matters to you, if you want, or you want to just read a great Superman comic, there were so many visual cues in that, to me, that signaled All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
If you haven't read All-Star Superman and you're in the mood for like maybe the one great Superman graphic novel, or it should be a pair at this point. I think there's 12 issues. All-Star Superman is definitely a beautiful way to go. So I'm loving it. I love that. I was really happy to see a few of those key kind of frames in that teaser. Yeah, Superman.
There you go.
Man, we got a Superman movie. I'll take it.
We got a Superman movie. It's going to be a year for that, right? There's there's a few movies coming out this year. So. Yeah,
there's a ton of stuff. I mean, we've obviously got Captain America 4 coming out soon.
Right.
We've got the Thunderbolts Asterix coming out very soon. Allie, what are you doing to me here? All right. I told you. I try to keep things civil. All right. So
13 Stanley Cup, say it as a word. That's all I'm going to say.
So here's
there you go.
So just for conversation's sake, the name of the hockey club is officially the Toronto Maple Leaf Hockey Club. That is the official registered name of the team. And if you are a member of the Toronto Maple Leaf Hockey Club, because the maple leaf is our Canadian symbol and was a national symbol, even though not the official national symbol, going back as around World War I. If you are a member of the Toronto Maple Leaf Hockey Club, you are then one of the Maple Leafs, because there you go. It's a nickname, and nicknames are fun and don't have to be grammatically correct to anyone else's standard. So it's all good. It's all good. We'll see. We'll see what happens as this game plays out. Right now it's 2-2, and it's exciting stuff. And Allie is a gem, so I don't mind pretending to have a rivalry. Good fun. Did you watch all of What If?
I did. I watched all of What If. Which again, they're fun. They're fun. They're light to me. I mean, it's nice that you want to try to string like an episode, like an arc storyline through 8 to 12 episodes of kind of alternate universe stories. But at the heart of it, it's play. Like, let's play with our toys and have some fun, right? But I'd say for us and for the people here today, we got to see another X-Men.
Yeah,
featured prominently.
Yeah, I mean, we could focus on that. Getting to see Storm. Storm was just an easy fit. I'm relieved. That they just bring in. I feel bad for not knowing the actor's name. She has delivered that Storm performance that obviously I'm even pulling from. And it's been around since '92. So that's great to see, and I'm relieved that they didn't bother giving us an origin or explaining why she's the goddess of thunder. Like, it doesn't even matter. It didn't matter. Just go enjoy it. And of course, we could easily come up with a universe where she carries that mantle. Like, it's not a difficult stretch. So, and given that we have recently read, the New Mutant special that goes into Uncanny X-Men Annual 10, I believe. It was easy to transition to imagine her as the Goddess of Thunder. Very cool. Totally. So I was happy to see her there. The season didn't hit with me, and that's okay. It wasn't supposed to. I really, really wanted to love the mech episode. Like, oh yeah, I was so there for that, and it was about other things, and it's okay. They were trying to do a lot in that one. So
yeah, and clear too that the characters they used and the stories they were writing and choosing to share feature characters that we will see more of in
yeah,
2025 on the big screen, right? So, they're doing that, right?
I hear you. It was okay.
Yeah.
And Leaf breakaway, no goal. it's on my drawing tablet thing here. I decided to try it today and to see how badly distracted I would be. And I was distracted pretty much by, I think it was Lawrence on a breakaway, but I didn't really get a good look. Anyway, no goal. It's still 2-2. Fun times. I will do my best to not give Leaf reports as the game is proceeding, because we have important business to cover when it comes to our beloved X-Men. I'm assuming this, as usual, is your first time reading this issue?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have my childhood copy. And I say childhood. By this point, again, I'm essentially 12 years old. So, yeah, still a child for all intents and purposes. Just of note, before we go into it, this is, within 6 issues, this is the 5th different penciler.
Yeah.
So John Romita Jr. leaves, and in issue 214, we get Barry Windsor Smith. 215, we get Alan Davis. 216 and 217 are Jackson Geiss. 218 is Mark Silvestri, and then 219 is Bret Blevins. And it feels like, from the outside, they don't have a regular artist, or they're bringing someone up to speed, maybe giving... who we know to be the artist is Mark Silvestri. I mean, they're giving him a runway to just pile and get some books done. There is an annual that comes out at the same time, which we're going to be reading next week, because that's where it matches with continuity. I was struggling, but if we were going to read annual 11 now, but I realized, of course, Havok is on the team when that issue happens, so it's better to... There you go. A beautifully drawn issue by Alan Davis, so I can't wait to dive into that one next week. But seeing Bret Blevins on this one, I think he's well suited for the theme of the cover, like the nightmare stuff. He really wasn't an artist that captured my interest at the time, but now,
give me a primer on Bret Blevins. It's the first time that I've encountered this
dude.
gentleman.
He is probably best known for maybe his work on Astro City, but he's also like the guy that got to work on New Mutants during its kind of final days, when it had a really weak cast of characters, when Liefeld takes over with Louise Simonson and revamps it eventually into X-Force. So for a lot of people, he's kind of like not a favorite artist, if that makes sense. Looking at him with sort of... I don't know much more than that. I actually didn't do any research into him. So obviously, y'all in the chat, if you know stuff about Bret Blevins, like, please feel free to share. But looking at his work kind of with fresher eyes at, in 2025, like, that's awesome. That's an awesome drawing. And I recognize the differences between interior art and cover art, and how much more time, people devote to cover art for obvious reasons. And I imagine there are some books or some titles he's really well suited for, and maybe this just wasn't what this reader wanted in 1987. Looking at, I can see a bit of a crossover between Paul Smith into John Romita Jr. I thought he was kind of... Romita Jr. tried, I think, to do a lot of Paul Smith stuff, but then eventually becomes his own guy. And I see quite a bit of crossover between Silvestri when he starts, and a lot of the JR stuff too, like his proportions, the very long, thin legs, tiny heads, widespread stance, and easy storytelling. Silvestri has like a lot of that carry over too. So I felt like they were kind of... There's some continuity just in the house style of X-Men, but X-Men also really welcomed Barry Windsor Smith, different style, really welcomes Arthur Adams, different style, Alan Davis, different style. So there's room for more, and Bill Sienkiewicz over on New Mutants. So there's room for variety. But I, as a kid reader, never took to Bret Blevins. But I think now I'd be much more open-minded to it.
Yeah. I mean, it can be jarring too, right? Jarring.
Yeah.
A younger...
Without knowing anything about him,
yeah.
he reminds me of an artist who's from the UK. and I don't know where he's from, but that's my read now. Is I see crossover between him and oh man, who was the guy doing the backups in classic X-Men? I used to have that name off the top of my head in the years previous in this show, but it just has escaped me. So there's some British illustration aesthetic to this for me, but again, who knows? I didn't read up on the guy, so I really don't know enough about him. I feel
almost like Judge Dreddy is a 2000 AD comics.
Right.
Is that the
that's what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I think there's a bit of that in there, and that's cool. I'm happy to see a different take on things. But that being said, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, we should.
If we want to remind ourselves, because it has been 3 weeks since we last did an episode, right? We had 2 weeks off. So when things ended, it was that episode, and I use that term not meaning our show, but episode in the X-Men's lives, where Dazzler, Rogue, Psylocke, and Longshot are on Muir Isle, and they have then messed with Juggernaut in Edinburgh. As well, Storm and Wolverine, a couple issues back, had their experience with those 3 World War II vets that were on their private vigilante hunting human criminals for sport sort of thing, justice. And they were kind of doing a road trip to figure out what was going on, track down the marauders from their point of view. And then the other thing that was going on, of course, was Havok and Polaris, who Lorna Dane and Alex Summers, living in New Mexico, had a really weird car accident with their Jeep that went off a cliff and struggled, and eventually got it back on the road and tried to track down the people that ran them off the road, found them all dead, and a Brood spaceship or Brood starship, which is a shark for some reason. So the end of the episodes before this are sort of like Alex is like, oh my God, I got to warn the X-Men. And that's kind of where that takes us, you know? Oh, John Bolton. Anthony, you're the man. I got to show you. Can I show you what Anthony did for me?
Yeah.
This guy. So last episode, I mentioned that I wanted to find those Mark Silvestri Wolverine issues in the essential form, like in these black and whites, not worrying about collecting back issues, but just wanted to get some. And Anthony went out of his way and let me know that they had 4 volumes of Wolverine, the solo series.
Wow.
At my local Planet X in Richmond Hill, Ontario. And so I got the first 4 volumes of Wolverine Essentials, which includes the complete Larry Hama and Mark Silvestri run on the title. I can't wait to have the time to go through all of this. It should be a fast and fun read. I'm binging on Hellboy at the moment, but as I'm hoping you are too, Chris. But we'll get to that. So Anthony, thank you again. Just publicly saying thank you, because I did it already in person, but that's an awesome thing to come across and hook me up with, because I really look forward to diving into Silvestri.
Fun quick Hellboy parallel here, tangent.
Yeah, man.
So this holiday season, I was visiting family in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I went to the local store there, which has a decent selection of back issues, and they've got a bunch going on there. Nice people, and I went there with my son, who's just on the cusp of turning 14, and he went and he just kind of rifled through comics, like, can I get these? And I was like, sure. And he picked up the first 6 single issues, not the trade, because he didn't want the trade, of the Spawn Gunslinger series. Which totally flashed me back to being 13, 14 and thinking Spawn, when it came out, was like the coolest looking thing I'd ever seen in my life, right?
Yeah.
So there's something, the whole time he's looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something about just when McFarlane's designs, and for that audience, that younger audience, for sure, just like latching right on. But the other thing they had featured there was the Hellboy, featured prominently was the Hellboy volume of The Crooked Man, which is the movie, right? Which takes place in Appalachia, which is not far. Like the National Smithsonian Museum of Appalachia is about a 30-minute drive from Knoxville. So I was saying to him, I was like, you sure don't want to get this, man? Like, this literally is around this area. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was kind of like, nah, I'm good with Spawn. I'm like, all right. But I liked how they had it featured as like, now the movie, now this, like the fact that it was kind of, anyway, I thought it was kind of a fun little thing.
I think yes, that's a good, I like that, and I'm not surprised that he went for a single issue as opposed to a trade.
Yeah,
A trade feels like a commitment to to a
sure,
young non-comics reader, perhaps,
sure.
or like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
non-book
oh, yeah,
comic reader,
yeah.
like when it comes to the graphic novels, big grown-up ones. But I was thinking about a person around Todd's uh, birth time and a little younger, like the guys like me and you, and that sort of 10 years or 15 years after Todd, um, and how different characters hit just on an instinctive level with different kids.
Yeah.
So, when you are two, Spider-Man, Superman, and Adam West Batman, like the Super Friends and Cartoon Spider-Man, like those things, they are so exciting just to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're aimed at a kid a little older, but the 2-year-old knows there's something really cool there because that's not Grover, that's not Big Bird. Like, oh my God, what is that's something really special. And then for the kid who then it continues to feed on those kinds of characters, when you first see Spawn and you're maybe 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like it is a revelation.
Yeah.
Like spikes,
Yeah.
chains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Western motif on top of that, bandolier, hat. He was like, "What is this?" Like,
Yeah.
it's a Spawn.
So for me, of course, there wasn't Spawn when I'm
Mm-hmm.
at that age. When I'm 10, 11, 12, I discover Wolverine.
Right.
And that's it's like the claws, so something sharp, just a little bit of danger in a very, very safe environment.
Yeah.
There's something really exciting about that. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that he was drawn
It
toward.
was cool to see, right? Because he's not someone he's like me. He kind of dives in and out of the genres and the books and the medium, and he just was just had half an hour to himself in this store with all these back issues, and kind of was like flipping through, and he's like, "Huh, what's this?" And then, oh, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm like, well, you can get them if you want. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Very cool.
Anthony says, that's awesome you were in Crooked Man territory. That Richard Corbin Mignola collab is fantastic. So yeah, I'm ironically spent most of my day drawing and doing digital color stuff for the upcoming cover that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had Mignola interviews on and conversations about his work on all day, including him talking about collaborating with Richard Corbin and what a fantastic experience that was for him. Like what a unexpected turn of events in his creative life to have a chance to work with Richard Corbin. And yeah, it really is remarkable the work that he did, that you think that Hellboy is so intrinsically Mignola's, and then when someone else who is an equally great storyteller and artist in his own right takes a spin, it becomes theirs at the same time. Yeah, Crooked Man. Have you watched the movie yet, by the way?
I haven't yet.
Me neither.
We should remedy that.
Yeah, I'm not much of a horror guy, but it's Hellboy.
Yeah,
Of course I
Hellboy.
should. Yeah, I got to get to that. Okay, now back onto this.
All right.
See on that cover, on the original art, all those lines going horizontally.
Yes.
So that is a screen tone that got laid down. So for anyone watching who doesn't know what a screen tone is, it is literally a sticker sheet that has a printed pattern on it. And this printed pattern particularly would be horizontal lines. And the inker, or usually it falls on the inker to do this, would lay that sticker sheet down and cut out the boundary that they want it to fill. So that means that there is the remainder of this sheet was still on the wax paper.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's on there, they would then scratch away at it to create that kind of staticky, shocking transition from white up into those lines. That's all scratched off, probably with a razor blade of some kind. And then white media is speckled onto it as well to create that spatter. So there's some real fun with that. That's a nice one. I like. I wasn't expecting that based on this. I thought it was like hand drawn. Actually, now that I look at this one, you can really see it on the cover too. It's back there, but yeah, kind of cool to see.
Super cool.
Oh, Massimo says, "How you doing, by the way, Massimo? Happy New Year, and thanks for following me on Blue Sky." He says the movie is great. Yeah, I have a sense that you like scarier movies than me. So I will have to watch it, but I will be scared, and that's okay. Maybe I'll watch it in the daytime, and maybe I'll be petting my dog most of the time to help relieve my stress. So we'll see. I don't know. Do you watch horror movies at night, Chris?
I mean, I think I probably have watched a couple.
All right. We'll see. Let's get this thing going here.
All right.
Oh yeah. I can feel where my voice is. I'm ready to read a lot of Wolverine. I'm in like my deep range. I can feel it. But he might not even be in this issue.
He's very, very little. And we get, of course, the reference. Welcome to the X-Men, Havok. Hope you survive. Reference to the Kitty Pryde debut or second issue, whichever it happens to be.
Right, and then also is repeated with Rogue, is it not?
Is repeated with Rogue. Yeah.
So this is an X-Men trope.
It is.
Which is a good thing in this.
Have they done it since? Do you know?
Since this issue?
Yeah. Does anyone know out there? Like they've done it in 2005 or 2019 or something?
I should hope so.
Yeah.
We will see. We will see as we keep reading. And maybe we'll start recognizing it more as we go through. Do you remember, by the way, I believe it's that you're Havok, are you not? You read Alex Summers? Yeah. Okay, good. You got some good stuff here because
there's a lot.
You get to narrate.
I know.
Which is cool. Right. I'll just do the first part that's in the scroll paper, and then I think you take it away from there.
Perfect.
This pose is so weird and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, people in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember Havok having rings around his neck before this.
Okay.
I think his original costume just was black all the way until that mask, that really, really weird mask with the almost like a brooch in the middle of his forehead, which is odd. But man, oh man, the rings around the neck really help. So that's cool. But I really like this. I like this awkward pose a lot. Chuck says the neck thing is new. Okay. I think it adds quite a bit to the character's his design, because it obviously echoes the circle motif, but it also allows you to sort of see him from different points of view and read him more clearly because there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the recent Havok action figure from Marvel Legends does not have those, but that probably can be remedied. Maybe combining a Havok and a Bullseye. I don't know. Oh, I got to figure it out.
Oh, I can see that. Sure.
Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, Salem Center, New York.
An old mansion on a lovely estate. Me, I never liked the place. Too many memories are bad. Here, I learned the truth about myself, and that revelation destroyed any chance of living a normal life as easily as my plasma bolt smashes the front door. I'm a mutant. The name on my birth certificate is Havok. I mean Alex Summers. I'm also known as Havok.
Stanley, was that on purpose?
That was on purpose.
Okay. It actually.
So a little thing that we call ad-libbing in the industry.
Stanley presentation starting the Uncanny X-Men, where duty lies. Haha, duty. And they have Bret Blevins as guest penciler. So it tells you he's not staying. They know who's coming on. And of course, Dan Green, Warzakowski are there have been for a long time. And then we have as colorists, we do not have Glynis Oliver anymore. Oh no, she's there. Pardon me. Glynis Oliver and Petra Scotese.
Scotese?
I believe that's what it is. Yes, there's a collab there, which is fine. And Anna Senti and Jim Shooter still in their regular roles.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck says it's very much an homage to Neil Adams. This image is the homage, or do you mean the costume? I feel like there is a Neil Adams pose similar to this one, but I have not done my research to look it up because just living life, man, living crazy. The pose is the Neil Adams homage. Is there a particular issue that, like, back in maybe the 50s or 60s? I don't mean the decade, but the issue number is where he drew that one. So Michael says a quick Google search, "Welcome to the X-Men," was also used for Miss Marvel in 2023. And I probably have that issue, and I wonder if our friend Adam was involved in that one.
I was gonna say, I have an issue that I believe he draws. The
Adam Gorham,
illustrator Adam Gorham, and there was he was on that series for a bit in Ms. Marvel. So cool.
Yeah, if anyone ever gets to meet Adam Gorham, he is one of the most nicest fellows out there. All right.
True. I phoned from Albuquerque and New York and the local train station, but got no answer. I assumed the worst, and that's why my smash and bash entrance. But no one is waiting, friend or foe. In the headmaster's study, I find Cerebro, the mutant detecting scanner system, wrecked beyond repair. No other signs of violence, though. No people either. Not X-Men, nor the novice class of New Mutants. I begin to feel like a royal jerk coming on gangbusters, when in all probability no one was home, out on errands, visiting family or friends, saving the world even. That last is what the X-Men do best. They're heroes, even though they get precious little credit or respect for it. I never begrudge them that way of life. I just don't want any part of it. I had other priorities. What? Welcome home, Havok. Trust a bad penny. Is that he's saying that? Yeah. Trust a bad penny to turn up when last expected and least wanted. The X-Men, led by the school's new headmaster, Magneto. He used to be the team's deadliest enemy. He's supposed to have reformed. The X-Men evidently trust him. I don't. Recognition takes one split second. Those thoughts, another. Hardly any time at all. But more than enough to cost me dear. Hey, who? Rogue? She used to be a crook too. She steals powers and psyches. Now she's after mine. Caught off guard, no time, no chance, no strength to stop her. Anger flares and awareness shatter fades. I've been suckered and seduced by these false friends. How easily she took me. Lettering is tight.
And that page is incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
That drawing is all the energy there, the coloring choices, everything about that page is great. Mm-hmm. It unfortunately, just from a comic storytelling point of view, this should be on a page turn.
Right.
So there should be, let's say, maybe an ad here on page 3. If you don't have enough content there, like we're gonna flip, and there's gonna be a Mickey Mouse ad in a minute. Like if you could get that one here instead, you want to see the X-Men come in, Magneto saying, come here, guy. And then the splash of Rogue should be on the page turn. But, okay, so it didn't happen that way. Chuck says he was wrong. The next circles are also a Neil Adams look. So just then to extrapolate on this, and it's not much of a spoiler, Silvestri extends those to be not just like a choker necklace, but almost like armor around his collarbones, and not quite extending to his shoulders, but he gives it a much more prominent look, and it really does make Havok's costume have a little more life in it. So we'll get there. It just that little idea gets extrapolated, through repetition of different artists. So need to see, but yeah, what a great drawing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. They laugh. Magneto, Storm, Psylocke, Rogue, Wolverine, Dazzler, Longshot. I know them all, and I've never hated anyone so much. I want to fry them to ashes. The power's gone, mind going, self with it. No more me. Reality sliding, skidding, Flailing, falling away, can't hold on. Where's the whole of me, I cry. Right here, she answers. Drowning, screaming, sobbing, cursing, pleading, begging. Stop, oh, please, my soul. Her soul, no fair. Have mercy. No mercy. No!
Alex? What in heaven's name?
Fire in heart and brain, white hot behind my eyes, blinding thought and senses. Madeline reverency, does a star feel like this the moment before it goes supernova?
Really, that's what Havok's thinking?
Right.
Madeline irreverency?
Yeah.
I know he is a book learning guy.
Sure, he likes them books.
Massimo says, I've noticed a lot of the older books don't consider scene transitions, sometimes mid-page or full page turns. Yeah, I think it's also a sign of like the pace and the pace of a younger cartoonist, and also like the grace that they have. And the more experienced artists, I think they pace things out smoother. But they just are moving at breakneck speed. You know, they're really working by the seat of their pants a lot of the time. So whatever works, kind of thing. But yeah, I think a lot of modern cartoonists who take much more pride in their work, who work, much longer, have longer deadlines, really do their best to have these scene changes on the page turn.
Yeah. I run from the woman and home I love before I destroy them both.
That's great lighting, by the way. Like, that's just doing the power of the color of his power and the color of the room. Like, it just reads perfectly. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
Alex!
Winter's outside. The high mesa where we live, bitter cold. Don't notice, don't care. Stars live in space. Sheets in the primal chill of absolute zero. I pray the airspace overhead is clear of planes. Can't see to make sure. Thank goodness the shuttle isn't flying. And then, cosmic rays fuel my power. My body transforms them into energy I can project, usually under better control than this. Only fitting I send the finished product back where it came from. They'll see my glow in Laos or Taos.
Oh, in Taos.
Taos?
Yeah.
Also in Laos, by the way. In Laos and Santa Fe, and probably in time all across the Milky Way. A man flashing bright as any star. Not too shabby. Yeah,
like, this guy is so powerful.
He's so, there's stuff like this where he's so seemingly overpowered.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where obviously, readers get pedantic and writers take liberties. Superman juggles planets sometimes, and this time Alex Summers releases enough cosmic radiation that they can see it across an entire galaxy.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. But he also fails to defeat bad guys on a regular basis. So,
on a regular basis.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a writer's choice.
True.
Alex! Good Lord! The ground where he stood. He released so much raw energy. It's fused to glass. Here, lover, wrap this quilt around you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I try to keep under control. It's so hard. I'm so scared. It isn't fair. Why me? Why me?
Poor dear, he's in shock. I wish I knew, Alex. Come on. Let's get you back inside before you catch your death of cold. Just sit and relax, sweetheart. I'll have hot cocoa and some chicken soup ready in a jiff.
Around us, metal pots and utensils come alive. Usually it's fun to watch. Lorna Dane's a mutant too, codenamed Polaris. She controls magnetism. I had the dream again.
That's every night since you returned from New York.
Tell me about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to snap. Each time it's worse. It's getting so I'm terrified to fall asleep.
But you told me everything was fine back east.
That's what I remember. I visited the mansion. The X-Men were fine. I came back home. My memory's wrong, Lorna. The X-Men are in trouble. Either that or I'm going crazy. Whatever it takes or costs, I have to find out which. I try calling, get really tired of leaving messages on the school's answering machine. Haven't felt so edgy, scared since I was adopted out of the orphanage. I had to leave my big brother Scott behind. Huh?
Where you go, I go. That's the deal when you share a commitment.
Not this time. Please, Lorna. I don't know what I'm getting into. I'd feel better on my own.
I can help.
Please? She nods and smiles. That doesn't hide the hurt in her eyes. I know her. She thinks I'm making a mistake.
I made you a reservation on the crack of dawn flight out of Albuquerque. We'll make the airport with time to spare.
Not on these roads.
Who said we'd use roads?
Show off.
Exercise. You need me, Alex. You phone, I'll be there.
It's probably nothing. Nerves and paranoia. With luck, I'll be home tomorrow. We could nail them both now. Easy as sin.
Now, I don't remember who is who, but I'll just take Arclight for the sake of expediency. Orders are to wait. The boy's not our concern.
The Marauder's next target, my friends, is Polaris. Wow.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, interesting. Before I turned the page, or before I turned the page, having reading this the first time, I was trying to figure out who the Beast character was in the shadow. I was like, what? Is this like a different Marauder? Is this like, because I was thinking Colossus killed Riptide and then came for Harpoon, and who's this person?
Right. And you didn't, it didn't click.
Didn't click.
He's obviously considerably smaller than other interpretations that we've seen in more recent years. But yeah.
Right.
It's Sabretooth.
What?
Yeah. I love that he fused the ground to glass. That stuck with me as a kid.
That's cool. I also like the idea, the playful idea of Lorna fixing food, just using magnetism to move the pots and utensils around.
Yeah, man. That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Totally. Tang. Anybody remember Tang?
Okay, please continue.
Okay. All right. Time difference means it's late afternoon before I reach the school. Picture postcard perfect, just like in my dream, and just as empty. Whole place as neat as a pin, except for the wrecked Cerebro in the headmaster's study. So much has changed since I was a student here. I've never met the New Mutants. Hardly know these X-Men. They're acquaintances, not friends. My choice, more than theirs. Magneto's diary provides a clue. Hellfire Club. Today's date. But they're the X-Men's deadly enemies. What's he got to do with them?
New Mexico.
Girls careless. No security screen, nor booby traps. Not even using her powers to protect the place. Wouldn't matter though if she were, any defense she can create. Scalp Hunter can craft a weapon to smash it.
Infuriating, man. I should be working, but all I can do is think of you. I've caught your mood. I'm nervous as a spooked cat. Don't know why. It's like there's a storm about to break, a nasty one. And I wish you were here so we could ride it out together.
Ladies first, Arclight.
Ever the gentleman, eh, Scalp? Well, the pleasure's mine. One good punch will trigger a sequence of focused shockwaves, more than sufficient to bring the house down. Sorry, to bring down the house. Earthquake! But that's impossible. This land's tectonically stable. Now, just to interject for a second.
Yes.
Remember, I believe she studies geology.
I believe she does.
Or does she study archaeology and he studies geology? Either way, they are an academic power couple.
A formidable
And
team.
a very formidable team. And whether she studies it herself or her partner does, she is very well versed in the geology of the region.
Ooh, okay. While the poor baby's all confused, before she can get a handle on her situation, I'll put her out of her misery. That's that, Marauders. Job's done. The heck it is, bub. You jumps both missed. Skirt still alive.
No, again, for most X-Men readers, this is probably the third or fourth time they've ever come across Sabretooth.
Yes.
So he is still a very malleable character in the minds of readers and the minds of creators. There has not been a transcendent version of him that everyone has a shared experience consuming, like the animated series. So yeah, that face might not feel like Sabretooth to you. Him running on all fours might not feel like Sabretooth to you. Who knows? But this is where it's at in, issue 219.
Yeah, and so far, even with the brief bit of dialogue we've encountered with Sabretooth, very much positioned as a anti-Wolverine, right?
Yes.
In terms of the same language, skirts and frails and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a sociopathic, chauvinistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Manhattan, a few blocks away from Avengers Mansion, stands the Hellfire Club. Classic Stanford White, turn-of-the-century townhouse, reeking of money and power. Noble facade masking the rottenness within. The X-Men I remember would die before hooking up with this crowd. Magneto would be right at home.
If you follow me, Mr. Summers, Professor Xavier will see you in the library.
Huh? Oh, right. Magneto's adopted a cover identity pretending to be the real Professor Xavier's mysterious, long-lost older cousin. Straight out of an Archie comic. Or Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
You've got some nerve, mister. Take a drink.
Okay, I am. Hold on.
Nice.
Coffee.
But it's like a half shot because he's his younger brother, right? So
True.
Yeah, there we go. It'll take more than assuming the name of the X-Men's founder to fill his shoes. Alex, what an unexpected surprise to see you again so soon. I wish I could say the same. Only finding you here isn't really unexpected.
Peace, Havok. Where else would one find the White King? Newest of our 4 Lords Cardinal who rule this institution.
Emma Frost, the White Queen. She's a telepath. I have to guard my thoughts around her, but I can't stop the look of shocked, sick disbelief that flashes across my face at her announcement. It's true, lad. Xavier School and the Hellfire Club have formed an alliance.
And in time, will no doubt evolve into the best of friends.
I don't believe it. The X-Men would never countenance such a move. It was made with their assent. Indeed, at Storm's insistence. I want to hear that from her. I have to see them. That is not possible. How convenient. Why not, Magneto? Where are they? What the devil's happened? If you have a message, give it to me. I will pass it on. Our team will contact you when they are able. I won't hold my breath waiting. Professor Xavier left his school, his students, in your hands, Magneto. Is this how you repay his trust? These are the most dangerous of times, Havok. More than the X-Men's lives are at stake. More even than the survival of mutant kind. The fate of the world hangs in the balance. And only Magneto can lead us to salvation. Is that it? Don't make me laugh. Last. For all my good intentions, my good works, always I am hamstrung by the past. Even when the leopard has truly changed his spots. What lamb will dare believe it?
Oh, boo-hoo. This, for me, is one of the weaker pages in this issue that, he's filled in a lot of blacks to
Yeah.
try and not have to draw or create any kind of graphic elements to, I don't know, even just help with the geography or create nice design. But that third panel on the right page, that face, that one bugged me always.
Yeah. Well, and this is again, this is, you know, the style clearly, but there's just this like facial warpness.
Yeah,
You know, which,
like it's like a
you know,
caricature almost.
yeah.
But then you look at the two women's portraits he draws on the left-hand side on page 10.
Yeah.
The woman who escorts him in and the first Emma Frost, like they're sound. They look like comic book women of this time period, but that Magneto face is just so long.
Mhm.
It is a particular kind of face, and if I'm stopping to notice it when I'm reading, that usually is not a great thing. Like you want to keep going with the flow of it, but I'm
Yeah.
distracted by.
Yeah, it's hard too, again, because there's a grotesqueness to some of these figures that,
Yeah.
again, not grotesque in an almost
No.
in a design perspective, but
Yeah,
not,
that's a fair aesthetic
yeah.
term in this context, I think. And that's where, John Bolton, who, thanks again, Anthony, for the reminder, in his classic X-Men backup stories, he would draw grotesque figures as well and faces. And it was
Right.
part of the appeal of it was, again, like these more introspective, darker tales that happen between the grand adventures. So I don't mind it as a choice. This one, that particular face just always took me out of it.
Right. Hated to run, but I had to before the White Queen tried to sink her psionic hooks into me. Was that what happened to the X-Men? Are they prisoners? Worse? But suppose Magneto's telling the truth. I don't know what to do. I can't deal with this on my own. I need help. Maybe the Avengers. Oh, nice idea. Royal bust.
The mansion's destruction, courtesy of the Masters of Evil, circa Avengers 273 to 277. And Ascenti. By the way, if you were a kid reading Avengers at this time, which I was, it was the most exciting. It's the Avengers run that has always captivated my imagination, still to this day. For whatever reason, it was arranged so that the Masters of Evil, including the Wrecking Crew. Do you know the Wrecking Crew?
Oh, I'm familiar with the Wrecking Crew.
they all team, like, it was a huge roster of physically powered brutes who storm Avengers Mansion. They beat, I think they really beat Jarvis, and when Hercules shows up, he's like the lone one there. They put him in, they basically beat him to death, except he hangs on because he's Hercules. But watching sort of that story take place, it was such a tragic, like, that moment in whatever adventure where all the heroes like leave a spot and leave one person behind, and then you realize the bad guys are all there and that person is dead. It was that. And it was like, oh my, it felt really dramatic and sad. But I read that issue to shreds, like over and over and over. It was, and I couldn't wait to find out how they were going to get back the Masters of Evil, and I've never been able to forgive them. Like Tiger Shark was there, Mr. Hyde was there, not Black Goliath, but just Goliath and the Wrecking Crew. They were brutal to him. I believe Roger Stern writes it, John Buscema on pencils, and Tom Palmer on inks. I would love to go back and reread that, but I have 4 Wolverines to go.
Yeah, now I'm curious. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was another time. I would love to one day go back and look at those issues from the 270s. Yeah. Are you keeping track of things in the real world for no? Okay, maybe. I'm not saying anything. Maybe. Dan Alvin, how are you? Dan says Blevins is gearing up for Inferno, where everyone is possessed and looks manically twisted in their resting faces.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And he also continues that Jarvis retires after that. Yeah.
He's too old for that shit. He's out.
Also, maybe a little too human. And can't Tony Stark just invent something that does the job?
Exactly.
Anthony says, I do think Blevins' art works really well in this issue overall, but there are times where his male characters look like they're 95 years old. Yeah. There you go. Oh, right. Jason Jose adds that that version of the Masters of Evil is essentially, a lot of them become like the version of Thunderbolts that is
Okay.
the famous. Do you know about that whole Thunderbolts reveal? Like the famous one?
Well, aren't the Thunderbolts in the comics like reformed villains?
Okay. Without getting into it, and it was a really beloved run for a lot of people who read it as contemporaries.
Yeah.
But you as the reader did not know they were villains. They all have hero personas. They're like a new team of heroes called
Yeah.
Thunder. And after a number of issues, the leader pulls his mask off to reveal it's Baron Zemo.
Yes.
And they're all they're the Masters of Evil, but they are like government sanctioned. And it was
like Freedom Force.
Like Freedom Force, but the reader wasn't in on it. And so it was a really exciting reveal for a lot of people.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Professor X was associated with a lady scientist in Scotland, also known as a scientist, by the way. But lady scientist is a perfectly acceptable term in 1987.
Oh my God. Did I ever tell you my mom once said to me, like in the last 15 years, that she was going to see the lady doctor?
The lady doctor.
I'm like, Mom, come on.
Come on. A good friend of the X-Men. I try her next. Again, no luck. I get some hard case named Callisto. Teams in New York. Contact him through Magneto. How about my brother Scott? Do you know where I can reach Cyclops? Try the yellow pages. Click. What the heck is that all about? A simple, civil question, and she darn near bites my head off. Scott was a founding member of the X-Men. If anyone besides Lorna could set me straight, figured it'd be him.
Look how subtle that is behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
X
Pretty
Factor
fun.
hat on the bus. You might as well say, go read X Factor comics.
Exactly. For Scott Summers. Wish I hadn't been such a butthead. Why'd I leave Lorna behind? Summers' stubbornness. Summers' stupidity. I phone home, but the call doesn't go through. Line trouble, operator says. Fact of life on the desert. I'm cold. I miss her. I don't know what to do.
New Mexico.
Name's Sabertooth, Sweetling. Me and my pals were marauders, kill mutants. Tonight it's your turn. I got your scent, Missy. Next I'll have your heart.
I heard Wolverine howl like this once. I had nightmares for a week. Only there's no Alex to hold me now. Kiss the boogeyman away.
That's how you get rid of boogeymen, by the way.
Yep.
I think we can all agree it kisses.
Barely got out of the house and undercover in time. Not hurt so bad, but without clothes and shelter, I won't last the night. Except for your Magneto powers.
Right.
Come on.
Massive powers of magnetism.
Come on. Optimus. I almost said Optimus as in like Optimus Prime. Optimist.
Where's Optimus Prime when you need him?
She could conjure him with her powers.
She could.
Come on.
She could make an Optimus Prime.
I'll live that long. Sabretooth said pals, plural. That means a team. But how many? Where? What powers? I may not have a prayer. Before I'm done, these creeps will know they've been in a fight.
Time to die, Polaris.
Not at your hands, Buster. One of the reasons we chose this particular place to live is the strong iron content in the local rock strata. Makes it that much easier for me to manipulate.
Even steel can't hold me, frail.
Backed by my will, those chains could hold anything.
Not if my will is stronger. You gotta think about killing, girl. That makes you weak. With me, it's second nature.
Time to go. If I ride the magnetic waves, I can fly away. My leg!
Can't fly forever, sweets. And when you land, I'll be waiting.
It hurts. Oh, Lord, can't cry. Want to scream. Alex, be with me. So scared. Why me? Why me? Hurts, cold, dying. Leg beam energy. Can't dodge, can't block. Yeah! Manhattan.
I love playing Tarzan. Perching snug among abandoned birds' nests, waiting for Magneto to make a move, and then praying I don't break my fool neck as I follow him. At least the costume's insulated. I hardly feel the cold. And that isn't the problem. It's running around in public wearing an outfit that fits like a second skin. Thank heaven the desert keeps me fit. The punch-outs I'll endure, the laughter of the crowd would finish me. Wish I had some pockets for change or a handkerchief. How super people do this on a regular basis, I'll never know. Okay, he came down the steps. Only the station's closed. Doors steel. Magneto must have used his magnetic powers to open and close it. Tight focused plasma shot should take care of the lock. I'm in luck. I'm able to fuse the bolt back together after I'm inside. I hate breaking rules. I hate being noticed. Trouble is, that's all the X-Men ever seem to do. I spot him a ways down the tunnel on the maintenance walkway. Then abruptly, he disappears. Safety alcove. Looks like solid concrete, part of the tunnel wall. But it must be another doorway. Train. I flatten into the shadows, my black costume blending with them's to make me pretty much invisible. Wondering if Magneto's waiting for the chance to shove me under the subway's wheels like villains do in the movies. I don't want to die, or even get hurt. So why do I continually put my life on the line? Masked by the chattering light show of the subway's passing, I blast the alcove and give the wall a hearty shove. A smart move, Sherlock. Yeah. I grab for anything. I get lucky. Ouch! Well, sort of. 1,000 years later, when breath and heart are back to normal and I don't hurt quite so much, I start down and down and down for quite a ways. These must be the Morlock tunnels. Scott told me about them. A street gang of mutants that chose to live way underground instead of up on the surface. Nice neighborhood. What's Magneto want with them? Unless he's out to form another brotherhood of evil mutants. I'll head for that light. Probably where I'll find the people. Huh, burn marks. As if these tunnels had been scoured by a white-hot flame. Pretty recent, too. Anyone caught in that conflagration wouldn't have stood a prayer. What the devil happened? I thought the Morlocks were a pretty big outfit. Where's everyone gone? Wait a minute. I remember now. Their boss was a woman named Callisto. But why, she's on Weir Isle. Why are the X-Men here? The whole crew from my nightmare, except Wolverine and Rogue, with Dazzler's glowing body providing the light.
Thanks to the Marauders, the Morlocks have been virtually wiped out. And the X-Men's numbers cut in half, with no guarantee that Colossus, Nightcrawler, or Shadowcat will ever recover, much less return to the team.
What?
The Marauders evidently consider us their paramount foe. So long, then, as the X-Men exist, they will make every effort to destroy us, either by attacking directly or through those we care for. We cannot protect everyone we know, but how can we fight, aware that by doing so innocents will suffer, yet not resisting means ceding victory to the Marauders, which is equally unacceptable? The solution to our dilemma is to find another way, which allows us to regain the initiative. And that, I think, is to make the killers believe they have accomplished their objective. My friends, the X-Men must die. Chuck says, great panel of Storm. Yes,
Yes.
100%. It reminds me of Norm Brayfogle. I don't know, something about the angle. That choice reminds me of, you might know him from Batman comics in the 90s and 2000s.
Okay.
Or late 80s and 90s. But yeah, so much Claremont, but it needed to happen eventually. Even the one above it, that Storm pose, where it's mostly her in teeny tiny with the other X-Men there. She looks great. It's a good power stance, and I think the Mohawk is awesome.
And it's a cool, it's a fun, Dazzler's providing the light, right? She's just lit up.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the X-Men must die.
The X-Men must die. I'm in another nightmare. Have to be. No way can this be real. Purple-haired woman, Psylocke, English, nice voice, speaks.
And that's for like the clarity, you know what I mean? That's because you can't see who's talking. But Storm, how will we fool those who will undoubtedly be looking for such deception?
Smart too. I was wondering the same. Huh? Someone behind me. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I should know better. Anyone but Rogue would have been killed. My panic would have made me a murderer. And yet, remembering my dream, I'm glad I nailed her. Desperately afraid, without knowing why, I'd run for my life.
New Mexico. No sign of the girl or Sabretooth.
My scanners are inoperative. Polaris is throwing off so much energy, she's scrambling the electronics. She's better than we figured.
You saying we can't take her?
Nope. Job will take a little longer is all. Sabretooth slashed her before my bolt knocked her down. Being hurt will make her more dangerous. But also more vulnerable, huh? Woof.
Sabretooth! He hit Scalp Hunter like a battering ram. The ground! Fissure opening beneath me. Closing tight. I'm pinned. If I could move even the littlest bit, I could trigger a shockwave strong enough to free me. But I can't.
Saber's out cold, and Ark's trapped. Up to me then. Concussion shell should blast her free. Gloriana, weapon module's going crazy. Polaris doing the minx has to be. Ow!
Manhattan.
Dazzler's brightened her glow so the others can see me. But that works in my favor too, enabling me to see where I'm going. Whoops! Magneto magnetically animating these metal cables to grab me. Nice try, mister, but no cigar. My photon solid light blast has the best chance of knocking him down, but I'm still not comfortable using it. I might hurt him. I don't want to do that, even to an enemy. Perhaps a near miss from my laser beam will scare him. I react without thinking, from an instinct that terrifies me. The plasma bolt leaps from my fingers before I've even realized I've fired. I have anything to call it back, but I can't. When it hits Dazzler, she'll be burned to a crisp. That same instant, the newcomer called Longshot moves with inhuman speed and grace and unnerving sureness, saving her life, thank heaven. What incredible luck.
Havok!
A voice in my mind. Must be Psylocke, the telepath.
Have you lost your senses? Are you trying to kill us?
I never meant to. Things got out of hand. But sometimes being sorry isn't enough. Any more than being sorry is an excuse. Depends, lady, on what you guys intended by ambushing me at the mansion.
You said he would not remember. He shouldn't have. But I also warned you, Storm, that your Professor Xavier taught his students most effective psionic defenses to edit Havok's memories more completely, would have risked causing permanent damage.
Are you kidding? What gives here, Storm? I'm an X-Man too, you know. I joined the team before any of you. If something serious has happened, you've no right to keep me out, especially by playing games with my head.
That was done For your own protection, Havok, and ours. He heard our discussion, Storm. He knows too much. I dare not attempt another mind wipe, but as well, we dare not leave him loose where the marauders can get at him. Have we any other option? Wolverines. Kill him.
Damn, Psylocke.
A great drawing of Storm again, and Psylocke too.
Yeah. I don't know what scares me more, Psylocke's suggestion or the fact that Storm takes it seriously. I think of Lorna. Wonder if I'll ever see her again.
No, Psylocke. We do not slay our own.
And then they tell me of how the Marauders slaughtered every Morlock they found in this labyrinth weeks ago and tried to kill the X-Men as well when they tried to come to the rescue. They speak of a psychic entity named Malice who gets inside your skull and twists thoughts, feelings, actions, and desires into the nastiest of directions. They speak of death and sacrifice. And as I listen, I realize that my days of bystanding on the sidelines are over. Look, Storm, the X-Men was always the center of my brother's life, more than it ever was of mine. But that doesn't mean I'm not mindful of the responsibility given me by the power I possess as Havok. I owe a lot to Xavier's school and the team. I'd like to help, if you'll have me. Deliberately, she looks to Magneto, deferring that decision to him, and I remember how I refused to shake his hand. A war has begun, Alex Summers, of mutant versus mutant. Here was fought the first battle. Here fell the first casualties. They will not be the last. And he takes my hand, and I wonder how I'll explain this to Lorna.
Looking at that Magneto face, again, like those elongated features,
Yeah.
I'm reminded of like old cartoony villains, like
Yes.
mustache twirling
Yeah.
caricatures of the other, and like an old Superman Fleischer cartoon, like the evil genius. They often have these, like you use the word grotesque. We don't mean it as in monstrous, but
No.
just sort of
warts.
these othering features.
Yeah, features that are, exactly.
And he looks like the villain, which is, I can see why Blevins would take that approach, as opposed to making him kind of look handsome, or play down any of his strangeness. This, with the haircut and the eyebrows, he looks like a strange dude, and maybe that's, it's totally a fair interpretation of it.
Kind of like a Bond villain.
Yeah. Ali says, Magneto, they're drawing him like a frail older man. Thank goodness Jim Lee came along and fixed that. Hey, sure. Jim Lee, that without like being too cheeky, Jim Lee draws all of them, every character at like the peak of human physicality, right? He draws all of them as Olympic characters, as Olympian gods. And that is obviously a valid interpretation too. It's just a different thing. And I got room for both, for sure. Lame. So lame. Oh, wait, you're Maliche.
Oh, I guess I'm Maliche, doing players. Yeah. Lame. So lame. 3 big, bad marauders against a lone little girl. And see how you end up. Really pathetic.
What are you going to do with us?
Why, lead you, of course. As Mr. Sinister always intended. Malice, you possessed her. You betcha I did, Furface. At Albuquerque Airport, the moment she kissed her lover doll goodbye. This fight was a test to make sure she was up to the job and that I could handle her under any circumstances. Sweetheart has a lovely psyche, tastiest I've encountered since Dazzler. I'll enjoy my stay. In fact, I may never leave. With my prompting and under Mr. Sinister's tutelage, Laura Day will achieve her true destiny as the mistress of magnetism, monarch of the Marauders, Polaris.
Next, Storm and Forge, Unfinished Business.
Ooh. Before, have we heard Mr. Sinister as a name dropped before?
I think we heard his name once.
Okay. Like maybe in the Morlock tunnels, maybe?
Yeah, from the bad guys. I think they referenced him one time.
Okay, all right.
I'd like Chuck's comment here as like another way to read this. Is part of the look of these characters, like Magneto specifically, due to the fact that this issue is grounded in Alex's subjective experience. So, right, like it's from he's the narrator. It's all from his point of view for the most part. So that is definitely a way to interpret it that I think has a valid, has validity. Sure. And it not for me to be the one to validate or invalidate anyone else's reading. I connect with that one too. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good take for sure. This is definitely one of those issues that's sort of moving the grander story forward a little bit. I thought it was going to be like a bit of a side thing where we're going to get, just an Alex Summers kind of story. But yeah, we're obviously seeing what's happening. Polaris, Malice is now rooted supposedly in a very powerful mutant. So the Marauders are on the move. The X-Men have now acquired a new member. It's kind of cool. I don't really know what's going to happen next, but where the heck was Wolverine?
Right. Where was Wolverine? Good question.
He was ready to kill Havok from the shadows.
That was pretty. That was pretty great. Other options: Wolverine's kill him. Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea. But Wolverine's off doing something. It's not like he isn't in an abundance of other comics, and you know, he's guest starring over in Spider-Man or over in Captain America. Chuck says he was on a beer run. Well, that's funny you should say so because I'm going to spoil. Next week, when we do read
the annual
Uncanny X-Men Annual 11, I'm going to just spoil the first page.
Sure.
Because it validates Chuck's statement.
It does, actually.
Look who's coming home.
From a night out.
Drunk as a skunk. Walking down Grey Malkin Lane to the mansion. Yeah, or to the school. Singing a song. And he is carrying, I don't know if you could see what was in his right hand. Can you see?
A six-pack?
Yeah. So he was on a beer run. Like legitimately, that's the next thing we're going to read in X-Men is him coming home after a beer run. And it is one of those issues that's in a bit of a weird time because Havok's on the team. Brian and Megan from Excalibur they're there as well. So it's kind of a full house. It might not exactly fit in time. It really doesn't matter. It's a fun one anyway. And glad we can get to it. What'd you think of this issue? You enjoy it?
I mean, I found the artwork distracting in a way that, and I shouldn't position that though, like distraction in a way that made me like I would lose the story because I'd go back and just kind of be like a little transfixed by some of these drawings that I wasn't sure how to feel about them. Truthfully, it wasn't a clean read through. It'd be like a stop and a whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. So I mean, hey, listen, art is meant to make you think and feel. So it's doing its job. I'll say that. Whether or not I have personal preference towards it or not, it's giving me pause for thought. So, and then trying to connect it, even like with Chuck's comment, like thinking about what the marriage is between this particular story and this particular artwork or art style. When it was set out to do this,
If I knew for sure there was like a Inferno, demons, nightmares, where he had a lot of time to work on each issue, I would be more than happy to check out some more Bret Blevins X-Men stuff. That'd be pretty cool. Can I move on to action figures?
Sure.
So it's self-indulgent, I recognize. Anyway, I mentioned I showed you guys last time we had an episode. I got that Secret Wars Wolverine, which I'm really loving having around because this year I should say 2024, I acquired more than my fair share of Wolverine action figures. And it's a little bit ridiculous how many Wolverines. If only I could get some more Wolverines. Who knows? I got to figure that out. So going back, this is the Rogue that came out, I think in 2024 or late 2023. So I had her for a while. And this is from the time period shortly after what we're reading now.
Yeah.
She's going to go into this look. Quick critique of it is that she, instead of just having green paint and, versus black, it's like a full-on boot. It's a thigh-high boot, but there's no sculpting difference. So then there was this Rogue that, of course, is from X-Men 97, who's great. It's exactly the one I was hoping for from that. But I just got... Allie says she has her. I have her. I just got this one.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the 2-pack with Destiny.
Yes, right.
And she's in that classic... I don't know why I say classic. That sort of first costume we saw her in, essentially, the Michael Golden, and then into Paul Smith when she joins the team. And I feel like this hair is too short for when she joins, but this hair is way too long. But I will say these faces are very, very similar in features, but expressions are different. This one comes with Destiny, who is, I think is that her right there? Whoop.
Yeah, looks like it,
next to Batman and Hellboy. She's knew that was a good place to stand. So I'm happy to, get that to finish off my Freedom Force / Brotherhood in that time period. Although I do have to replace Pyro now still because my dog ate it. It's like I learned my lesson. But having this one's really cool. I bet you they'll reissue this with a different head for X-Men 97 Season 2 or whatever. I tried the other heads on it. Doesn't swap because the neck length is too long. On this one, she's very, very necky. You can see there. She's quite necky. But gorgeous figure. Really happy to have Rogue from that Paul Smith. I can have like a little Paul Smith team, which makes this old man happy. Yeah.
Nice.
Go Leafs. 3-2. Good times. What else, Chris?
What else? Oh, geez. I mean, we're making comics. That's fun.
Yeah, we're finished Badlands. Finally, it took a year.
Yeah.
Peregrine's Badlands wrapped up as far as the online release on Instagram. Finally, was really happy to see that one finish. Got like no, it was crickets the whole time, which is in terms of sending it out there. No new readers, like no comments, or nothing, which is totally fine. I wonder, we tried, we posted as sort of one, like you added me to each of the posts. I wonder if that dipped the numbers or didn't impact the exposure in a significant way. But I know you and I were all open to sort of testing things and seeing what works. Totally. And it got no response. So it was, I'm not going to take it as an indication of quality. I'm going to take it as an indication of exposure and maybe fatigue.
Yeah, and also I think the actual format, like the algorithms of the software, is that even like YouTube and things like it's really difficult to get that right mix. So something so the algorithm rewards your content. It's so messed up, right? Like.
I was hearing about 6 months ago from webcomic professionals that images that have readable text in them are getting pushed down in the algorithm, that they really want reels, right? They want
reels content. Being a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't want single images that have, especially they don't have text in them. So Instagram is like no longer the place to be putting up webcomics, which has been really interesting over the last 3-4 years. Yeah. Kind of trying and seeing and like watching when our numbers, I don't want to say spike, but when our numbers increase in eyes and when they don't. So it's an interesting one.
But it's saying that, and sorry folks out there to kind of go with this on this little, kind of dive into our recent experience. over the last 30 days, just as I have them, it's still reached 13,000 views over those. I don't know what that means. Aside from that,
should have been 14.
Sure, but like from the dashboard that Instagram gives me, 13,523 interactions, a bunch of new followers. But again, like I don't know how many are bots.
Yeah, well, Instagram, like a lot of other social media right now, we're going through that flux where a lot of things, we've talked about in shitification before, have we not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The process of something becoming shitty, and every service, every product, or I should say every service, every app, goes through this cycle. And we're in a particular moment where things can go a lot of different ways for whatever's coming next. I mentioned to you before, a lot of creators have hopped over to Blue Sky for whatever reason. Seems to be a pretty positive place. I've been there for a few weeks. I didn't make an announcement or announce. I didn't post that I was there. Just wanted to get a sense of it, and it's just starting to pick up a little bit. I've only posted there 8 times, I think, and I have maybe 30 followers or whatever. But I haven't really been that active on it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe try posting the full pages of Badlands there maybe the rest of this month just to see. But that takes me back to what I was going to say is we're sending that thing to print. You and I have to just talk about what we want to put inside the inside front cover, inside back cover, and then we're ready to go and print copies of that off to have at our whatever events. And are we going to sell it through our e-store, do you think?
We did the others.
Okay, why not? So there'll be copies there. And then that leads to, of course, the compilation of all 4 one-shots that we put out. Peregrine's The Obstacle Course.
Out of print.
Peregrine's Londinium.
Out of print.
Peregrine's Hunter's Moon.
2 copies left.
And Peregrine's Badlands, which is not in print yet, but shortly. So it'll be so much fun to have a compilation of those 4 issues that are predominantly out of print. Back in. I'm going to throw a question at you, and this is not intended to put you on the spot. It is intended to put you on the spot, but I don't have an agenda other than the entertainment. We've talked about putting out in black and white for reasons. It's, that's fine.
Right.
The original issues were all in color, although mostly monochromatic, but color nonetheless. Have you thought at all about going color in the graphic novel, or have it are you determined or have it sort of set in your mind that you want to go black and white?
You know what? I hadn't even thought about it. I think because I was only assuming we'd go color.
You were assuming we'd go color?
I don't know. That's how they are.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't know.
This is time to talk to Ricky.
That's right. It's a bit more pricey, but we'll figure it out.
It is. It also, which is fine, truthfully. It just also means we need to figure out a new paper stock. The last 2 we've done have been the same model, essentially, all the same materials. This one will be a new one. We'll have that one up on the site soon enough, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
The high-pitched voice says it all. I'm just surprised, man. I'm just surprised. That's all. But I'm game. I'm happy to try something. Having a color book will be kind of fun too.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we call it a night? I know you're tired. I can see.
I think we're good, man. Yeah, it's cold out there. I don't know everyone else is, but it's cold. I was outside. I was walking back from Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think I've recovered. It's still cold.
I was playing fetch with my dog on the field for about 40 minutes at 4:00 this afternoon. It's real cold.
It's winter.
This red is windburn.
Right. It's winter.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually tender. It's cold out there. Good times. So firstly, just want to say to everyone in the chat, again, thanks for joining us tonight. It's really great to have you guys here. And I will open my heart and tell you I missed you all over the last few weeks, and thought about how much it's meant to both of us to have you guys on this journey with us so far. So that's it's a fun way to start 2025. And hope you are all well, and that your families are well, and you had a good break and a good holiday, and have a wonderful 2025 from the bottom of my heart. So thank you for being here again. Please, as usual, if you haven't already, click like, subscribe to the channel, anything to help push this in front of new people who would probably enjoy this kind of content. It does mean the world to us to get on our way toward 400 subscribers, and from there we're unstoppable. I mean, once 400, that's
the world. Next, the world.
That is the
and
way.
Shout out, we did have a couple of new subscribers, so shout out to Willard Parham and Toracube. Thank you for subscribing to our channel.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to Chris, you buddy. Good to hang with you again. I again missed this very much over the break.
Yeah, good.
My Tuesday nights were very chill. I don't know what I probably watch TV with my children, which is lovely to do as well. So, but glad you could be here, and you had a good break and you're back safe and sound. Of course, keep your eyes out for upcoming refresh of the website too. With the release of a new book, we're gonna have a bit of a new look on the site, and you can find that, of course, at group7comics.ca, and you can follow us on Instagram at Group of 7 Comics. Are you on Twitter still?
I'm there, but and so is our feed, and I check it occasionally, but we don't post a lot there anymore.
Well, and you can follow both of us on Instagram at the names you see there, Jason Lapidus Art and at Chris Sanagan, and I think I'm on Blue Sky as Jason Lapidus Art. Maybe, I don't know. If you go looking for me, you'll find me. It shouldn't be too hard. And on Facebook also, there's Group of 7 Comics, and I'm there too. But yeah, do all those things. Click like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. If you can, throw a comment in the comment section. Let us know if this was a meaningful issue for you, if you have this one, or what you're looking forward to, or any take that you might have not thrown in the chat as we've gone through. I love hearing what you all have to say, and getting a new perspective from someone that I wasn't expecting. I mean, the perspective that I wasn't expecting. Whether it's someone I was expecting or not is not what I was trying to say. But there you go.
And come back next week for episode 150.
What?
150. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that in a big way too. It should be a blast. And many more fun episodes in the chronology to come as we make our way to through Chris Claremont's run. It's been pretty incredible. That's about it. Okay, there you go. So thank you all. Thanks, Bob. And everyone out there, stay Xy.
Have a good night, everyone.
See you next time.